Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I think it's morning. I don't know. Things go by so fast these days. All right. So today's show is about checking with your accountant before you sell your house. And I'm just going to say, check with your accountant before you do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because, obviously they're going to know your tax liabilities. We're not tax professionals.
No, please. That's what we're telling you, to see them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of times people, will ask this question. Sometimes as a realtor, people will ask me lender questions. I'm like, you know what? I can't answer that honestly or accurately. So ask them. And they sometimes they feel like it's me just kind of pushing that off to somebody else. But
you're not a legal tax preparer or tax. You're not licensed for that. So you can't explain that. But what we do know is enough to tell them, yes, you should be talking to your tax person.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so,
want me to tell you my story real quick? But all right. So I came to the game last, right? So it's basically she's selling this. One of my clients is selling a home and buying another one. They've been with their agent the whole time. But come to find out, when they fill out this form and they went and met with their tax advisor, which you can explain in a second, they told her because two of the last 5 years, you have to live in the house in order to offset your that it's your primary residence, and that you have up to a $500,000 increase in the value, and you don't have to pay taxes on it if there's two of you. $250 each person. That's all I kind of know right now. All right. That's all I'm just putting out there. Well, she did an exemption for a home primary residence a year ago on a house she left when she bought this house.
Gotcha.
Right. So now she can't qualify with the house she's selling as a primary residence to sell. So she has a $27,000 tax hit that she's going to have to pay Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of what, we're not really going to be able to avoid that, especially with people that are selling like investment properties. Like, you're going to get hit with the capital gains.
You're going to 1031 exchange investment property, so you don't get hit with that.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, but if you're selling, like, say for instance, someone had like a rental property and they're selling it for $350, right? I mean, you could do a 1031 exchange on that, but a lot of times people do that when they have,
you can put it into a Delaware statutory trust, which is an investment for that, and you can 1031 exchange it into that.
Oh, you can?
Yes. And then keep your money in there, let it grow. It grows at the same, kind of level as other stuff. We had a 1031 exchange guy on a couple Januaries ago. It's in the YouTube channel. You can go in there and check it out, but on Real Estate Jerky. And we talked about it. So it's a huge plan where you can do that. The Delaware statutory trusts are great because you can put your money in there and then say down the road, hey, I found something else I want to buy now. You can take your money out there and do a 1031 exchange and buy that property.
Oh, okay.
Look at that.
Hey, I just learned something right now.
There you go. All right. So the most important thing is and I run into this a lot with people from the Bay Area, or people who bought their house 30 years ago for $100,000, and their tax base is now at 300, but the house is being sold for 1.2 or 1.5 million. And they're thinking that they can move all that money into their new house, which they're going to be able to do that, but they're going to have to pay tax capital gains on anything over 500,000 in gain. You need to talk to your tax person, because this is happening to a lot of people who didn't preempt it and talk to their guy or gal or person
guy.
or
so
them.
There's a form that we get from the escrow and title company, and normally we're going to see it at the closing table. And it's a form that causes a lot of confusion. And if you check the wrong box, you're going to pay a lot more in taxes. So what I've started doing recently is asking for title and escrow to send me what's called a 593. And that's something that I like to get in your hand as soon as possible, so you can meet with your tax person, your accountant, well in advance. So you already have an idea before we even get ready to close, because otherwise it also causes a lot of confusion when we're signing. It's going to add extra time. You got to call somebody. You might not be filling it out right. And it's just a good thing to have dialed in before we close.
Yeah, because if you filled that form out wrong, they're going to hold 33 1/3 of your money.
Correct. Yeah, and it could take you, 18 months to get that.
Yeah, filing taxes.
Yeah. That's why first thing they ask you when you go to set up your tax appointment, have you bought or sold a house in the last year?
Right, because they want to make sure it's set up right. But before you do anything, and even before you get that form, you should be talking to your tax person to say, hey, this is my plan. That's when you work with professionals, we tell you, talk to your tax person, talk to your trust person, talk to everybody. And if you don't have those people, we can refer you to a few people, right? Because that way and we can get so that you have the trust in place. Once you buy a house, you need to have your trust and will in place in case something happens to you, for your family and everybody else. But then you also should need an accountant to make sure you're not giving money away, right? Yeah. So, I mean, because for most people, the standard deduction is what most people will take on their tax returns. But I'm not saying everybody. That's up to you need to talk to your accountant.
Yeah, and you touched on something with trust too. That's probably a whole nother show right there. But I had
don't worry, I trust you, Bobby.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean,
that's what you're talking about, right? Trust.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a recent client who their attorney told them that a trust was not necessary to put their house in. It's only for people that have a lot of assets. And anyway, yeah, I just another show, another day.
Well, let's real quick, we can give it a minute. You need to talk to somebody about a trust. Otherwise, you're going to have probate when you die.
Exactly,
and then that's a pain. And a will doesn't fix that.
No,
a trust fix that. And again, we're not trust people. I mean, we're trustful people, but I'm just saying we don't handle those things for people. We're not attorneys. And so we'll get an attorney to come on and talk about those things.
I think that'd be great. Cause one attorney I was talking to, he said, when people don't put their house in a trust, I just know I'm going to make money off them at probate, and I'm like, right. That's
well, whoever that is, you need to talk to them and see if they'll come on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So basically the show was check with your accountant. We're going to say that again. Check with your accountant before you do anything, especially if you are thinking about. Here's an easy one. People have been investing in Robinhood, right? And so, what you should talk to your tax person or investment person is when you do that. And if you sell within the first year, a lot of people are like multiple selling. You got to pay 33 or 30% or some ridiculous amount on the earning that you've made. Instead, if you hold it for a year, you have to pay 15%. So there's so many things that we don't think about that you should be talking to your tax person about.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So check before you sell, because more than likely there are going to be some taxes. There are ways to defer it, and hopefully they can help you guide you through that before we actually get it on the market and find it out kind of late in the game.
Yeah. The other thing you need to check is check before you dig.
Yeah.
All right.